Press the button, turn the thing, see this thing go, 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 and away we go. Oh, I had something over here. You got to clear the jar over there. Turn up the volume here, volume down. And I'm close on that one. And slide this over here because you got to go and then empty that. And then go back to here. And now we're here. Welcome to the World Show, Friday, April 21st, where I am at. I don't know where you're at. I don't know what day it is there. 10 o'clock, 10 a.m. Los Angeles time. And I am drinking the appropriate amount of fluid to keep things going. I'm trying to stay lubricated. Now, you understand how lubrication works from a mechanical point of view. It lets things slip and slide and move with ease. That's what they should call this, moving with ease juice. That's not true. I'm not drinking that just yet. I'm stuck on the dew trying to get caffeinated because my super chicken secret sauce is not available at the moment. So we're sucking out the concentrate from the green can, hoping for the best. Stay awake, stay alert, and keep moving. Here we go. This is going to be an interesting show. I'm so mad at Gen X Mom right now, I could spit nails. She didn't give me the tits up. She didn't get my hat. She didn't get my shirt. She didn't give a shit right now. She's doing the bare minimum. All right, you want to see the bare minimum? I could do the bare minimum, too. Well, not here on the show, of course. I give you guys my full attention, as it were. But I can play the bare minimum, husband, yeah. No, I really couldn't play the bare minimum. I think I'm doing the bare minimum as it is. I don't think I can get any lower and slower than what I'm doing right now. I can try. We'll see. I'll give it a shot. That's the old college effort. Give it a shot to do less. Well, what are you going to say? Deepak's birthday was Monday, and we missed it. Well, that's not good. But Deepak did not fill out the birthday at Gen X Talks email. Birthday at Gen X. Is it birthday or birthdays at Gen X Talks? If you send it, then we make a big deal about it. But I can't do it if I don't know, and I won't know unless Ashley tells me, and Ashley won't tell me unless you send an email. But you send the email, and we'll say it. We don't mind. We dig talking about you guys. It's our favorite subject. Happy birthday yesterday to Shell. How do I say that name? Shell Sifim? Shell Sifim? I'm fucking that up. And I talk to Shell off and on. I think Gen X Mom talks more than I do, like in Discord conversations. But I never, just Shell, and then I get that part right. You guys, from now on, we're having a policy. You have to have simple names or you can't be part of the program. I'm sorry. 3 syllables or less. The Nintendo Man 64, moving near Davis in a month. I've heard bad things about California politically. Is it bad near Davis? The politics are bad everywhere because in my country and in my state, whatever laws they pass for the whole state. So Davis is particularly liberal. That is just one of the nests. Should we say that is a liberal hive? Doesn't that sound more ominous? That's a liberal hive. Kind of like bees that sting or the Borg collective. It's a hive. It doesn't sound very cozy and comfortable at all. No. But that's you're moving into an area where people think a lot differently than I do. So it depends on how you get along with everybody, I would guess. But if you're on your way, you're on your way. Gwen Tingle, member for 2 months. Good morning, General. Handsome as always. Thank you, Gwen. Fiona Beaverstock. Oh, my General, how are you? Well, I woke up in a good mood. I did. I woke up in a good mood. I was fun. I was energetic. I took a shower, got dressed. I was goofing around with my wife, and she was still asleep, and I was poking at her like, hey, I'm getting up. You should get up too. Just being loving and kind and attentive, the sort of thing that women want. They want to know that they're still part of the world. And so as a man, I let them know. That's my job, is to let all women know that they're beautiful and part of things, as if you need to be told that. But you do. You want some of that. And then within an hour, my morning just went down the shitter. So I'm working my way back to you, babe, and I'm doing the best I can. So we got some things to discuss. I'm trying to go off a lot of your conversations, a lot of your emails, a lot of things that you guys set into motion. So I want to talk. We only get an hour, so I got to hurry. So Biden's no tough to say that one. So the average Americans, we had 3 things to talk about. The Wuhan leak, because there is new news on that. Prince Charles, and the third topic for today was the Bidens and some of the obvious shit. Because you guys are asking me some real exact questions now. I would like to start with Prince Charles. His coronation's coming up. For King of England, it's a big deal. I don't care. Yeah, I don't. And I don't mean that like in a, I don't give a shit about England. No. Love you guys over there. Across the pond, very important. However, I don't know. I'm going to speak from an American point of view. I'm going to speak from. I would love to say I speak for all average Americans on this topic, but I don't. I just speak for me. But I need you to hear it. Hear people of the good ship. Hear me speak. First of all, his coronation's coming up, and why don't I care? I cared more about when he got married to Princess Di, and believe me, I'm not a wedding guy at all. I didn't even want to go to my own wedding. Apparently I had to be there to sign some paperwork, but I wouldn't have gone to my own wedding. I certainly don't give a shit about anybody else's wedding. Now I'm going to be a best man at a wedding because there's free booze. Other than that, I don't care about that kind of stuff. But I did watch Princess Di, Prince Charles. I did watch that. I don't know. I was interested in it as an American dude. I was just like, all right, I'm going to check that shit out. An amazingly long train on her. That gown, you know, that they call that the train, right? The part that the head and it go. It's like 200 feet long. Yeah, 35 people carry the end of that thing. But I don't care about it. He's becoming king. He's coronated as king, and I think part of that with America is that we don't think that the king and queen of England really you guys don't really have much say so. It's not like it was 200 years ago, 300 years ago, where the king said something and you fucking did it. It was the rule. It was the law. The only counterbalance to the monarchy was the church. The thing that you could go up against with the throne was the church. So. There. Other than that, I don't think that's there anymore. I just don't think. I think if King Charles strolls into your government and says, "Hey, we're going to do this," I think there'd be a bunch of people going, "Nah, we're not doing that." It doesn't have the appeal to me. But I remember all my entire life, you had a queen, Queen Elizabeth. My entire life, from the time I was born until just a little bit ago, it was just in my Queen of England, God save the Queen, Queen. I don't, I guess king is cool because it used to be God save the king for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. But I don't know, man. I'm just telling you that for some reason, I just don't care. And I probably should care. It probably should be important. I'm not sure what political sway he has on the world. I mean, I guess if he fucked up royally, it would demoralize the country. So it's good. Keep him on the right path to keep morale up. But I'm having trouble with it, just so you know. PayPal, Mark Weedell, 50 for the General's Whiskey Fund. You're all awesome. Thank you very much. See, my wife would have come in here and walked onto the microphone and said the PayPal. She's not doing that today. Okay? There's an issue. There is tension in the Gen X Talks household today. Loud one, $10. Morning, my brother. A few short hours left home. Just cooked Chish and Ren and father-in-law breakfast. Hopefully going to look at another house before I head to Texas for the workshop. Packed on, you got a lot of stuff to move, man. You're going to be moving stuff huge out of there, getting stuff moving up there. What do we got here? Did I miss this one? General Foodie, member for 1 month, bottom of the glass nation. General Foodie been around a little bit now. He's been around longer than a month. He must have just became a member because he's been more than that for a lot longer. Friend of the program. So then the news came out, and with his coronation, that Meghan Markle's not going. Now, I hadn't heard that she was officially invited. I guess they would have to invite her. There was a big issue about that floating around for a little bit, but now she's not going. And the whole royal family is relieved, like, now we can get on with the program. So I started poking around thinking, why do they care about this? Why is it an issue? And they're like, well, we don't want her to steal the show. Like Princess Diana, she would steal the show every time there was something important going on. Diana was there. It was all about Diana. And we don't want Meghan Markle to turn into that. That's the vibe I'm getting from all the little excerpts I'm reading on why this is a big thing that she's not going, so she doesn't steal the show. All right. But to be fair on how we Americans, and I'm speaking for this American, maybe I should just give you some very generalizations on how we view England, or maybe it's just me. Maybe I do. And maybe this will give you guys a little bit of insight where you guys can say something to me. All right. Number one, I think Queen Elizabeth was wonderful. I'm sure she wasn't perfect. I'm sure there's probably a list of things that you guys could say, well, she said this and she did that. Yeah, I know. You could do that with anybody. Any person on the planet is going to have a list of 35 things they're not good at, they fucked up, or they said. I don't care. Overall, you don't judge the person by their 35 bad things. You judge them by the thousands of good things. I believe my impression, Queen Elizabeth was just high class. She was dignity. She cared a lot about old school values. Maybe that's why I was attracted to her persona, was because she had some old school values and she wasn't afraid to stand up for them and say stuff. That's a big thing. Charles seemed to me to, and the important thing to remember is I've seen all the movies about Charles and Diana, so I'm well informed on the truth. Don't think I'm not, because the movies are, everything's right. It's always true. Charles was seemed like he was a dork growing up, and his mother thought he was a dork, and she didn't approve of his kind of the way he was doing stuff. And then he married Diana, and I think that elevated his status, in my opinion. I thought, wow, if that dude can marry up that high, maybe I can too, because he really scored. She was like considered low class, wasn't she? Like middle or low class, and then but she was just perfect. She was beautiful and she was wonderful and she was elegant and she walked around with style and grace. I didn't think much of him. I thought a ton of her. I thought even less of him when he's like, yeah, but I'm going to keep fucking Camilla. I'm going to keep having sex with her, and everyone's going to know about it, and I don't really give a shit. And Diana's like, what, am I not good enough for you? Oh, and look who decided to show up to the party. Let's see if you even have a mic. Is your microphone on? Hello. It is not on for some reason. Are you not plugged in? Hang on. Hold on. Hold on. Talk again. No, you're not there. Let me try this over here. Nope. You are not there. No, that one's not plugged in at all. That's a weird gig. Hang on. Well, I don't know what he did. I wasn't here last night. Hang on. Let me try this one here. Let me try. Nope, still not that one. Hold on, there's one more left. Yes, I'm plugging stuff in because the kid got it. No one can hear what you're doing. Hang on. Fucking A, how come I can't put a square pic? Good. Nope. I don't know what to tell you. There's nothing there. You want me to read it? All right. Well, there's something's wrong up. Sammy Joe, the sugar mama, on PayPal received $10 from Sammy Joe. Oh, just because I love Gen X Mom so much, I don't know what you did, General, but I know you did something. Just get out a 3-part apology and a back rub, and she just might forgive you. Okay, there's many things wrong with this statement. One, I'm not apologizing for shit. I didn't do fucking shit wrong. Number two, 3-part apologies are very special. I don't dish those out willy-nilly, as they say. And I couldn't give her a back rub as an apology if I wanted to. Gen X Mom coined a phrase about back rubs in her late 20s, and she says, how come a back rub from me, I'm assuming, a back rub for her always ends up in her, orally, just how come it always ends up that way? I said, well, that's weird, isn't it? Isn't it weird? So she doesn't like back rubs anymore. She goes, no, because it always turns into me having to do stuff to you. So anyway, thank you very much, Sammy Joe, but no, your feelings need to be set aside there. Not your $10. I'm going to keep your $10. I'm keeping it for the whiskey fund. Your whole apology thing is over. So back to Charles and Diana. I didn't like what he was doing. I loved what Diana was doing. I really thought that Queen Elizabeth was wonderful. It just seems like the Queen didn't think much of her own son. She didn't think he was too much. Now, you get into the part where Diana died and like, oh, it was murder and did they cover it up? I don't know. I don't think so. I mean, no one told you. You tricked the driver into doing like 100 miles an hour. You tricked him into going down that road. You tricked him into the driver into going to that tunnel. You tricked her into not wearing her seatbelt. Then you ran him off the road. The only compelling thing is like all the security cameras in that tunnel were off during that time. All right. Yeah. That's not proof it's a conspiracy. I don't know. In my heart, I don't think that they killed her. I think they probably wanted to get rid of her, but not like that. I don't know. Just that whole thing doesn't hold a lot of water with me. But the prince is going to be coronated as king, and it just, I don't know. You guys probably think more of it than I do. I mean, it's your country. It's not my country. As you know, as a British Empire probably thinks more of it than I do. I just don't have I don't have the draw towards King Charles as much as I did towards Queen Elizabeth. It just seems like a completely different vibe. God Save the King is cool. I'm behind you guys. We're still allies. I'd still fight alongside you guys. We're good like that. But I'm just not sure. I guess I'm asking, does the country, does the British Empire, does the country of England, are you guys as into it? It just doesn't seem like it is. Do you guys accept Camilla? I mean, she's now riding around with him. I don't even know what you really call her. But I mean, is it cool with you guys? Are you guys good with this? Are we progressive now and this is all just smoke a J and have a good time? I'm asking. I'm literally asking if England has that same feeling, if the British Empire is as supportive, let's say, of the style that was Queen Elizabeth and Princess Diana as they are King Charles. Because it to me, it seems like a different feel all across the world. I'm asking you guys. All right, let me go to the sheet, see what we got. If you got something to say on that, you'll get put to the front of the line, of course. Remember, the sheets are a separate monitor. When you guys type something in here, if you guys type something in the comment section and I can't read it because I'm telling a story, remember, if I'm talking up here, I'm not reading down there. Gen X Mom will copy and paste stuff for me for later, especially if it's on topic, and I'll read it. But I'm asking, I'm giving you the vibe of where I'm at, okay? And I'm asking how you guys feel about in your own side. Steve Nixon, what is Prince Charles' role in the New World Order? I don't know. I seriously don't think that dude thinks about too much stuff like that. I don't think he cares. I think he probably has someone briefing him and going, how do you feel about this? We should probably say something. And he goes along with it. He doesn't seem like a go-getter to me. He doesn't seem like he's out there holding England together and making everyone proud. There it is. That's how I feel right there. It doesn't appear to me that Charles is trying to hold England together and make everyone proud. I guess I had that feeling about Queen Elizabeth. I guess I had that feeling. John Morgan, Charles reminds me of Al Gore. Maybe a little bit. Takasama, Charles did not get portrayed well in the press, but he's a lot better than most people have seen. I'll take your word for that. I don't know the man. I've never hung out with him, so I wouldn't. All I get is what's in the press, and then some stuff from you guys, which I do value very much. Fiona Beaverstock, I'll give Charles a year tops. For what? He's going to have a heart attack? I don't give him a year for what? Keith Lanternelli, $27.99. Turn my whole screen orange. General, this is to hear the scream contest with you and a 4-year-old. Shame on you. Wow, I'm telling you that sometimes screaming back at a 4-year-old doesn't hurt anything. They don't remember. How many conversations do you remember from 4 years old? How many conversations, if your parents sat you down and explained to you, now, this is not what we do, this is what we do, we behave, we act, we talk, we don't yell. How many of those conversations do you remember at 4? How many screaming matches do you remember at 4? Well, if there's no memory, it's not going to matter. Then you know what? I think I'm just going to get down on my hands and knees and scream right back at her. See how she likes it. General Foodie, member for 1 month. We get an extra day off work paid for the coronation. All right, there's one good thing. Do you actually have to attend the coronation to get your 1 day off and paid? You have proof that you watched it on TV. Robert R., new member. The Queen was amazing. The royal family is basically done with her passing. Now, I didn't want to say it that harshly, but it just seems like it doesn't have the same pomp and circumstance. Is that a good way to describe it? But remember, I'm across the pond, the other side. I'm in America. I don't have as much at stake. I don't have as much invested, but I'd like to know. It just doesn't seem like it's that big a deal anymore. James Doss, we fought 2 wars so we wouldn't have to worry about it. That's true. We did. RJG, Camilla is called the Queen Consort. All right. I don't even know what that means, but queen consort sounds like, I think I did hear that. Queen consort. All right, I won't go into the jokes on that one. Robert R., new member, queen consort, but Charles is trying to change it to make her queen. Well, come on, man. With the checkered past that two of them have, why can't he just leave it alone? He's got her. You know, he won. He's got the crown. He got the girl he wanted. The other chick is gone. Now just, quietly go off into the night. Stuart Bailey, think it's time to end the monarchy. I've heard that. I actually got a couple emails from you guys about that. I'm a little confused on what that would mean. Now, if the monarchy is holding together England as some sort of a moral compass and how would you say that? Not really dignity and pride, which is what I was thinking of when I was thinking of Queen Elizabeth. And it's really not the moral fortitude of her that she was. Maybe it was just the monarchy was just. We don't have royalty here. The closest thing we had to royalty for a long time was the Kennedys. That was just a very rich and powerful and family, and they were just everyone. The Kennedys, they just had that air. But that's as close as we got, and that wasn't anything like what you guys got. You got a real royal family. But what would England's vibe be like? What would the loyalty be like? Because you guys have different political parties, but you can always be loyal to the crown. Doesn't that unite you guys all together? See, we don't have a third thing in America to unite behind. We have Republicans and Democrats, and then maybe religion, but they're taken away from us. We can't even be behind the flag anymore. We can say, well, it doesn't matter Republican, it doesn't matter Democrat. We have the flag. We have the country. Well, they try to divide that. The flag is a symbol of racism and oppression now is what they tell us. You guys have a third thing that you can focus on. I don't know if that works, if there is some degree of truth to that holds everyone together despite their differences, despite their economic class, then by all means, I would never get rid of it. Not in a million years. If it works, that one thing is invaluable. I wish we had that here. I wish we had something here at that level that binds people together despite their differences, and we don't. We just don't. I don't know. You guys have written emails about that, about what, how that would work and how you would dismantle that, and where the all the money that goes to the royal family every year, and the properties and the things, and turning that over to the history of England. I get what you're saying on all those, but I don't know how that would work. And on top of that, if that one thing has any relevance of binding the British Empire together, don't you ever lose it. Because you have no idea what it's like not having any common ground at all. And I do. Fiona Beaver Stockman for 2 months. I really think that Charlie's will abdicate to William. Oh, that Charlie will. Yeah. Do you think he just wants to be king for a little bit and then he'll abdicate the throne so he can continue on with his life? So that's the first time that in your history you guys have had people that abdicated the throne to do something else. So that is possible. Takasama member for 6 months. Charles does a lot of good work, does a lot for youth, very interested in keeping old crafts alive and passing out old skills on the youngsters. Then someone needs to make a story about that, a documentary or something. I'd be very much interested in seeing that. I really would. Because right now my opinion of the dude isn't super high. If there was some of that stuff that came out that he wasn't just doing to check a list and he really had his heart in it, yeah, I'd be very much interested in watching that. James Rustic, Charles is a gatekeeper. We won't see any changes until William ascends to the throne. Charles will be the bridge between the old and the new. All right, I could see that. James, that's a fair point. Coffee and Gold, being a Canadian, I hope he fails. Tired of giving them $150 million a year. Yeah. I know there's money attached to that. I just don't know what it is. Brian Ivany, no one in the royal family seems to even carry half the weight that the Queen had. Yeah, that was my point, is that I'm sure she had her faults, but there was so much about Queen Elizabeth's presence, even when she was super old. You just knew who she was. You knew she represented the crown, the monarchy. It was a symbol, and it was great. Tezra Jolly, I'm very much on the same page as you regarding the Queen and her kids. Of course, she wasn't perfect, but she was poised with dignity and class. That Charles guy comes across as just that, some guy. That's a good way to put it. Now, I know you could champion Charles by saying, well, he's an everyman. You know, he's your average Joe. He really connects. I think he's boring. I think Tezra said it right. He just comes across as some guy. You know what I mean? There's just not a lot of there. And maybe pizzazz isn't what you want in your royal family. Maybe you don't want it to turn into a circus. Yeah, I would say that. But I just don't feel. I'm an American. I shouldn't have any pride in the British Empire and their flag and their royal family. There should be no pride for me in that. In fact, we fought to get rid of them, and but I do. I felt like something like that was part of the world. That was an iconic symbol in the royal family, and the Queen was something I could enjoy as part of the human race, and saying, yeah, that's part of our planet. It just was. I just liked it. I very much enjoyed it. From afar, and I just don't feel like I can. Brian Ivan, you check back in. Here's the thought. What will happen with Canada and Australia if they're ever done with the monarchy? Hopefully a rewriting of some laws for us. The Governor General is above the Prime Minister. Well, I don't know. Would dissolving the crown, would dissolving the monarchy, would getting rid of the royal family change how the British Empire oversees, what like you said, there's Canada and there's Australia. There's some influence there still, heavily, but isn't that part of the governing body and less more of the figurehead royal family? Or is it just, does the Queen and the King write all the rules? I don't know how it works over there. You guys got your own politics. I don't know. PayPal, $20 from Jared. Thank you for all your Gen X Talks videos. God bless. Aloha from Hawaii. Aloha, Jared. Thank you. Deepak, if they ended the monarchy, will that mean an end to the Commonwealth and all the money they contribute? Yep, it would seem that that's a theme. That's a reoccurring theme with you guys, is that the money that goes to the royal family needs to come to an end. I get that. James Rustick, the Queen had some of the best advisors at a young age. Prince Philip, Mountbatten, Churchill, William will get all that plus his father's traditions and mother's modernism. It's hard to say, James. We can make predictions about what we would see, what we wouldn't see if there was no more royal family. I don't know. RJG gifted 5 memberships. Leslie Mathis, E. Ross, Data Secure, D. Shearer, and Angela Chapman. You guys can now go to the community section of YouTube for Gen X Talks and see all the behind-the-scenes stuff that you've been missing all this time. All right. Well, that was my take on Prince Charles and my questions. I'm not sure if we got anywhere on that, but that was it. God, there's 2 more things here. All right, look. Let me get you guys, these are questions you guys, that was me asking you guys about Prince Charles. I needed to get a little bit of insight there. This one is about some of the stuff that's come out about the Wuhan leak. You guys remember COVID, right? You didn't hear about COVID? Well, go look it up. It affected everybody. So to not draw this out, they have a lot of scientists and government agencies. You've even heard the United States government agencies coming out over the last 6 months and saying, there is 0 evidence that this came from a wet market. There wasn't some monkey having sex with a zebra, and then a bat ate it, and then the bat dripped the blood on some fish, and people ate the fish. Yeah, that turned out to be complete bullshit. 0 evidence that happened. There isn't one piece of supporting evidence, just that, well, this is what we think happened. Okay, well, what do we have to back that? Nothing. There is lots and lots and lots of evidence about it coming from a lab, coming from the Wuhan lab. I mean, all of the people that were pulling this virus apart at the very beginning said that the sequencing could not have been in nature, could not have developed in nature. They all said it. Okay, so there goes the wet market bat zebra monkey story. That's done. Had to come from a person, had to come from a lab. All right, well, let's see, where did it start? And the building across the street is a lab that does that shit. All right. Now, I'm telling you, what I'm going to bring to you isn't scientific. I've gathered some of the stuff that the scientists, the really super smart people have said. What I'm giving to you is just the common sense, the way my generation was brought up looking at stuff. Not complicated. Pretty simple. Tell me if I'm wrong. All right. One of the things that was happening right away that we found out later, that we're trying to get information, China blocked everything immediately. Not exactly a country that wanted to prove their innocence. We didn't do this. Our lab didn't do this. No. Let us show you everything so we need to get this off the, no. Let's just get this out in the open right now. Let's prove wasn't us. Did they do that? No, quite the opposite. The government took over the Wuhan lab completely, shut everything down, and started to cram all the information that they could in one building and lock the doors. What we found out later was that people in the lab were getting sick with this right away. We learned that they changed all their ventilation system inside the Wuhan lab right away when this started to try to filter out specifically what this virus was causing, how it was spreading. Kind of odd that you would do that, pick that one building to do that. A little bit weird there. Then we found out later from people that were sneaking information out, they were immediately destroying information. Paper trail, digital trail, destroying all the stuff that had to do with that virus. Well, if you're just a lab that's trying to fix the problem, if you're just going to be up front that the wet market across the street did it and you're trying to, wouldn't you let everybody in on it? When did you hear about it? When did you find it? When did the first case come walking through your front door? You got evidence of that. We talked about it. You wrote it down. When did it come through your front door where you could begin examining it? Oh, you didn't, because it didn't come through the front door. It was already in the building. It left through the front door. You had records of that shit too. Of course you got to burn it all. Of course you got to cover it up. So I'm just telling you, everybody knows where this came from. This is not a big mystery. This is not a big secret. Now, can you prove beyond a shadow of a doubt? Well, of course not. Of course you can. China's very good at eliminating the smoking gun, like a lot of us are. You want to leave your key pieces of evidence out. You don't want to. But we all know. I mean, everybody my age looks around and goes, after you've heard all the stories, like, nah, that's fucked up. You guys fucked up, and you created a virus and you let it out. No, we didn't. Didn't you hear the bat zebra monkey story? Yeah. We don't give a shit. You're fucking lying. We know what you did. Not that anything can happen to him. I mean, you can't go to China and start waving your finger at President Xi and going, hey, man, you owe the world a lot of money. You just get stuck. You can't fully investigate it. They're not going to let you in. There's no smoking gun. But here's what's amazing to me, and this is the beginning of the part you guys were asking about. I'm trying to combine two stories here you guys have been emailing me about. So let me try to bring it full circle. We're never going to learn every single detail about Wuhan, the lab leak, and COVID-19. But we all know where it came from. We all know what happened. But we're never going to find it out. Now, according to American politics, according to American media, accusations, insinuations, likely prospects of evidence should be enough. That should be enough to condemn the lab, condemn China. I mean, we learned that from the Mueller investigation. We learned that all you have to do is go, well, where there's smoke, there's fire. Right? Didn't we learn that on border security? The border security is this. They don't really investigate down there. This is, everything's fine. There's no reason to investigate. And we're sitting there saying, well, there's a lot of stuff going on the border. I'm pretty sure that it's like, there's border. Trump put up walls. That shows the problem right there. To show that's the evidence. Well, Where's the evidence of the problem with what we're doing? Yeah, just you see what's going on. It's clear. Let's condemn everything. Stormy Daniels. Do you have any proof? Are we down to the nuts and bolts where we can see? Nah, you don't need it. Yeah, you don't need the proof on that. Yeah, we got enough. Just condemn it. Just put it out there. Put it in court. Send it all the way. The court of public opinion, the media, everybody sees these things and just says, well, that's good enough for us. And they spend hours condemning. Why can't we do that over there? Maybe we don't have the smoking gun. Maybe we don't have the last piece of evidence. But they didn't with Mueller, 3 years. But they condemned the whole time and just said, you fucking all a bunch of assholes, you're out. They do it with every investigation. When they can't get to what they want, they stop short and go, well, we don't have the final proof, but fuck it. Everybody's guilty. Everybody's an asshole. You all need to leave and be punished, and we'll move on. Okay? Can we apply that to Wuhan? Or Fauci? Fauci's not going to get in trouble. And I'll tell you, Fauci deflected on this stuff and lied for years. His team, his business, all their stuff with their money involved. Okay, we all know that. Everyone in Generation X, everyone old school looks at Fauci and goes, God, you're a fucking terrible liar. You dance around everything worse than a politician. You're a fucking liar. But let me tell you how that works with Fauci. And I remember watching several public hearings that Fauci was at with Wuhan. Now, if this doesn't epitomize old school thinking, nothing does. So pay attention here. Remember when they said, where did the money go? Remember when all the senators were asking all the congressmen, where's the money? Where'd the money? You gave money to the Wuhan lab. You supported this viral experimentation. Well, the gain of research funding. You did this. It was illegal. It was wrong. It was immoral. And you knew it was going to fuck somebody up, and you did it anyway. And what Fauci say? First, he says, I don't have to tell you where the money went. I don't got to tell you that. Well, technically, in the charter that was written about how they do stuff, technically, he does not have to disclose that. But when United States Congress says, fuck you, where'd it go? You answer them. We're trying to solve a problem here. And just the fact that you're using a scapegoat tells everybody in my generation, you're fucking guilty. Just tell them. Well, you can't tell them. He finally got cornered on it. He finally had to tell him, so, okay, calm down. Now, listen to me very carefully. We gave millions of dollars to the Wuhan lab. But what we were giving it to them for was this over here. We didn't give it to this bad shit over here. This gain of function research, this viral. No. We gave the money over here. We did not give the money over here. So we're in the clear. Now, every liberal Democrat did the same thing at the same time. Everyone watching, from the White House down to some dude who owns a grocery store in Chicago, all the liberal progressive Democrats went, oh, all right. That sounds right. Yeah. Gave money over here. Or gave money over here. Didn't give money over here. Gotcha. Gave money to this research. Didn't give money. Okay, we gotcha. All right. There's two ways you can look at this. This is the simple. Every time they replay these, and they will one day, they will attempt to try Fauci. They will attempt to drag him through. You're going to remember that he gave money to one side, not the other. He gave money to the fourth floor of the Wuhan lab, not the third floor. Okay, so pay attention. And this is common sense thinking on how this works. If you had a family, okay, and a husband and wife and children, and they were always asking for money, always asking for help, couldn't pay their bills, couldn't get groceries, couldn't put gas in their car, and you went to them and said, quit buying drugs. You and your wife, you buy some drugs. You shouldn't buy the drugs. They're illegal. You shouldn't do that. The money you would save on drugs, you could probably afford all your stuff. Maybe you're right. Maybe they spend $200 or $300 or $400 a month on drugs, and if they didn't, they'd take that money a little bit towards bills, a little bit towards groceries, a little bit of gas in their car, and they'd be fine, but they spend money on drugs. So along the way, you feel bad and you want to help them. So you're like, all right, I'm going to go buy them some groceries. I'm going to go buy them $300 or $400 in groceries. So you go buy the groceries, you give it to the family. Well, now the family doesn't have to scrimp and save for those groceries, do they? They can go buy their drugs easily. They got it covered now. You bought the groceries, they can go buy the drugs. Now, are you responsible for them going and buying the drugs? No, of course not. You've done a good thing. You're trying to legitimately help in the way you can. You're not just giving them money. You don't want them to give them money to go buy the drugs. So you buy the groceries, give them the groceries. But have you not shifted their money around, or have you not allowed them to shift their money around where they can buy drugs? You just made it super easy. Barely an inconvenience, as they say. Now, not judging you or myself. I've done the same thing. I've bought groceries. I've filled up gas tanks for families that had questionable values on where the other part of their money went. But you have to admit that you did enable them to maybe, possibly go buy drugs. You paid for all their groceries. Now they're free to go take that money and go do it. Would not Fauci have done the same thing if they had a certain amount of money coming into that plan? I mean, obviously that lab needed money. They didn't have an unlimited supply. They were asking for money from all over, and they got some from Fauci and his guys. And as long as Fauci was buying the groceries, they had enough money to move over here to their viral fucked upness. Gain of function research stuff they shouldn't have been doing. Maybe Fauci's technically right. Maybe I was technically right for giving them groceries, even though I knew it was going to enable them to buy drugs. Tough call. Tough call with the family, not such a tough call with a laboratory, right? I don't have any moral problems with doing that for the family, or with the moral family. I don't have any moral problems with the lab. I just tell them, no, you don't get the money. Not for groceries, not for drugs, not for viral tech. You don't get it. With a family, I might have a moral dilemma because I want to help feed the kids. That would pull on me a little bit more. But you get the idea. Generation X realizes without a big explanation, it's like, big fucking deal. So you gave money to the fourth floor. That just enabled the third floor to fuck around with money and do shit they shouldn't do. You helped the third floor fuck up. Fauci, knowingly, and maybe he did give it right to that department, right to the gain of function research. We don't know. But who cares? He's already admitting to giving it to the fourth floor. Now the third floor just got more money to go fuck off with. That's how I think about it. That's how a lot of common sense guys of my generation put it together in their head on the fly at the moment, watching that shit going, who gives a shit? You're fucking it up. That I told you there was two schools of thought. That's the first one. The second one is the big wooden barrel theory. All right? So you got your Wuhan lab. Well, start with your family. You got your family. The dad's paycheck goes, he cashes his check and puts his money in a big barrel. The wife has her job, takes her paycheck, cashes it, puts it in a big wooden barrel. I come along wanting to buy stuff to help the family. I put the money in the big wooden barrel. Now there's a big wooden barrel. It's all sorts of money mixed up in there. Some of it they take out for groceries. They reach in the barrel for gas for their car. They reach in the barrel for groceries and paying bills. And they reach in the barrel for drugs. Whose money did they take out? I don't know. It's a barrel full of money. How the fuck do I know? Is part of the money that I put in the barrel that I'm hoping goes towards taking care of those kids, is that going towards drugs? Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I don't know what money they pulled out of the barrel. I just know I put my money in the barrel for a good cause. Fauci could claim the same thing. I don't know. We all put our money into the Wuhan lab. I don't know. Maybe they took my money out to do good stuff. Maybe they took my money out to do bad stuff. We don't really know. We just put it in a big barrel. And it won't matter. I know you guys hate hearing this from me, but I'm going to keep beating my chest and screaming this. At some point, Fauci's going to be run through the court system and said, see, everything was fine. He was found innocent. In the court of law, he was found innocent. That's going to happen at some point. But do we have any district attorneys that are really going to prosecute? Do we have any prosecutors that are really going to prosecute? Do we have any lawyers that are really, truly going to go after him? Not a lot. Not thanks to George Soros, which is the point you guys hate that I keep making. But Soros's money was placed very well in my country and politics in the past 12, 15 years. He made sure that the people in the court systems were the ones he wanted. Turns out he was right. Turns out that was almost more effective than winning elections for mayors, governors. It turns out that was the key to getting stuff done. Why? Because a guy like Fauci is never really going to be prosecuted. He's never really going to come under scrutiny. No one's really going to go after him. They may do a dog and pony show, yeah. But he's never really going to go, because Soros got all his people in there. And what's the flip side to that? Those same people that look the other way about everything that they could be prosecuting with Hunter Biden, with Fauci, just turning the other cheek, going, nope, we don't see anything there. They're the same ones that when there is a toothpick of evidence against someone they hate, against a Republican, against a conservative, they're like, aha, you're going to jail forever. What? Those same people that refuse to prosecute one side of the aisle will invent, manufacture, and exaggerate and prosecute people on the other side of the aisle. It turns out the judicial system is where it's at. Turns out that's better to control that than almost anything else. Which is why one of the greatest things that Donald Trump did as president was the Supreme Court. Because now all of these district attorneys, all of these prosecutors, all of these attorneys, all of these liberal lower court federal judges get overturned. They don't get rubber stamped. So I know we're talking about Wuhan, and I know we're talking about Fauci. I'm just finishing that out. We all know that the Wuhan lab leak, they did it. They fucked it up. China knows. China hit it. We got it. We also know that there were some people on our side that fucked up and were hiding it, covering it up, blaming Trump, praising Biden. The whole thing was a lie. And nothing's going to happen to him. And everything's going to happen to the other side. If something comes up, they can pin it on you. Just like, look in the beginning of all this. We even had one of our podcasts canceled because I brought up the topic of the Wuhan virus. I just brought up the topic and said, well, what do you guys think? You know, there's some questions here. There's some questions here. 24 hours it was pulled. Still pulled to this day. Turns out every question I was asking was legitimately a good question. And a question that you didn't want to answer in favor of liberal Democrat Fauci China. Turns out the answers were, no, you guys fucked all this up. And everybody who was asking the questions and shaking their heads going, you're wrong, they were right. The people on the right were right. The people on the left were wrong. And all I was doing was asking the questions. But they knew that if people started answering the questions, it wasn't going to look good. So they pulled our podcast under disinformation, spreading misinformation. I said, I didn't spread any misinformation. I asked a few questions. I didn't have any assumptions at all. This is way back when it started. Now, looking back, hindsight's always 20/20. We can tell why. Because the questions that I was asking, that others were asking, other people got beat up way worse than me about this. They got their whole channels pulled. They got their programs pulled. They were sanctioned. It turns out asking the question was wrong because they already knew. They knew the answers were going to be bad for the left. The answers were going to come in the correct fashion on the right. You rather just suppress the question than have to try to hide the answers. That's what I got caught up in. That's what we got caught up in at Gen X Talks. But there was big people that got yanked and spanked and pulled. Twitter was a huge one. Facebook was another one. YouTube did it too, but not nearly as much as Twitter and Facebook. Those were big ones. And now looking back at the documents, now looking back at what Elon Musk has turned out, it was a fucking. One of the things I read the other day, and I need to read it again, go a little further. Elon found a bunch of stuff a couple months ago where the government had continuous direct access, not like, hey, we need to file a request form with Twitter and see if we can see something. No. They had direct and constant access to all of our messages on Twitter. The direct messages. The stuff between you and me, if we tweet each other something in direct messages on Twitter, we don't put it public. Not just a public one. No, the private stuff. They had access to all of it. They could see everything going on. Why? Now, is that illegal? My first thought was no. Twitter was a private company. If they want to do whatever they want to do with, I mean, if I'm sitting here at my table in my house and I have 12 people passing notes across my table in my house, and they're handing the notes to me and I'm handing it across the table, and I feel like sharing all these notes with my next door neighbor, fuck you, don't write notes on my table then. Go someplace else and write your notes. There's no privacy here. I don't owe you shit. I could do what I wanted to. I'm kind of thinking that in the big picture of things, that's what Twitter was doing. Is like, we can give our information to anybody we want. We don't have to keep shit private. We can suppress what we want. We're a private company. If you don't like it, go someplace else. If you don't like Coke, go drink Pepsi. If you don't like Bud Light, go drink Coors. If you don't like Twitter, go. Oh yeah, there was no other place to go. That's where the conundrum comes in about the monopoly. But just letting you know, I was a victim of it. We were a victim of it. Many people were. And it was just asking the questions, because even in the beginning, everybody knew this was all bullshit, and everybody knew Fauci was lying. We still do. Now we know it. We knew it then. It was common sense for our generation to look at this shit and go, you out of your fucking mind? You give me this bat, zebra, monkey fucking story in the wet market. You're full of shit. We all knew, and then everything that went after that, every explanation was like, what the fuck did you just say? No, that doesn't sound right. Just like I always tell you, when we're all done, we know that OJ killed his wife. He got away with it, but he killed his wife. We know Fauci fucked up. We know China fucked up. They're going to get away with it, but we all know. That's how it is. I wonder how the history books will write it down, though. When they start writing this and the history books get updated and the history books go add a few years on each time. I wonder how they'll write this up. That'll be interesting to see. All right, before we move on, we got it coming up to the top of the hour. Let me get back in here between the sheets, see what I can see that I missed. Doc McFly, when it started to spread, I thought it was population control. Yeah, except that China's got the exact opposite problem of population control right now. Now, maybe India doesn't. But I literally want to do a whole 2 hours on China, because I have pulled so many clever things from people that are so much smarter than me, and they're from all over. And when I put it all together and I look at this and I go, holy fucking Christ. And it's just, you take a page from this guy's book, you take a paragraph from here, and you're making sense out of all these things and all these topics. And I sit down, I've got like pages and pages where I'm going. And every time I get ready to share it with you guys, there's more. And it has to do with population control, and it has to do with the condition of China's economy, and it has to do with the COVID when it hit, and what they've done with their money and how they're spreading out, and then in the imminent attack they're going to have to do on somewhere because they're running out of resources. It blows my mind. And people way smarter than me figured this out. All I did was take the pieces and I went, holy shit. And as I get ready to sit down with some super sauce and talk for an hour, I go, oh my God, there's more. And so I start researching, reading, and okay, just take this part out and add this to it so we can move on. I'm already up to 2 hours. And it blows my fucking mind. And there's not a ton of solid conclusions for the ultimate with China. But I can tell you, okay, listen to these 12 people. Okay, this is definitely happening. I would agree. Would we all agree this is happening? Then you go into those people in the research, and these guys are experts in this area. They have no political agenda. Okay, this is also happening for sure. We got this. Then you go, and then you get 10 or 12 of these 100% individual, for sure, things that are happening from different parts of the country, from different experts, and multiple people in each field. It's not like I'm just taking one dude who woke up in the morning and said something and going, wow, that looks real. No. You get tons of people in their area, and you get 12 of these. You line up all 12 and go, holy fucking Christ. And what's worse is you can take those 12 things and look back in history and go, oh my God, that's happened. Similar stresses, similar situations, similar ongoing issues have happened before with other countries. And they've all kind of reacted the same way, and now here we are. Now, I had to really compact that for you guys, but that's a show that I wanted to sit and do for as long as you guys would listen one day on China, because I just keep finding people that are coming up with stuff that are like, holy shit, I've been researching this for 5 years. Another guy, me too, same 5 years, same result, two different dudes. I don't know. It's powerful stuff. I'm not saying that I'm saying these would be definite conclusions, yeah, but at the bottom one, when you draw the line and hit the plus symbol, what is it equal to? I don't know. That becomes a projection. That becomes speculation. But if you look at history, you can get some ideas. I don't know. I thought it would be a fascinating show, too. I really did. Joe DeMitt, you know damn well they were working on more bioweapons than just COVID. It was genetically modified to cross over to humans. Have you noticed you hear crickets concerning the genetic DNA makeup of the Gen 1 strain? Yeah. A ton of that is just dropped off. You know, look at the new shiny object. They'll even throw Hunter Biden under the bus if they have to, and expose some of his stuff if they can keep stories like that quiet. Guaranteed. Grateful Ed, U.S. invented and funded the work in China. We are both on the hook. I just said that. It wasn't just Fauci. Fauci was using government money. Yeah. Kringasso, follow the money, gain of function research. Fauci is completely responsible. He was in charge from the gate. He was. And he had the backing and the support of the government. They knew they knew where the money was going. Everybody did. But we're not allowed to talk about it because it doesn't matter. No judges, no prosecutors anyway. We got all them on lock. Just a tip, General, in 2010, I took a virology as part of my science degree. We learned about virology labs and which levels of labs were in which countries. Later, I learned Obama and Fauci gave Wuhan lab funds. I said this is not going to be good. We should not be letting China research a virus, RNA splicing, and sure as hell shouldn't be funding it. I knew immediately where it came from when it hit. A lot of people did. A lot of people smarter than me like you. I didn't know for sure. Not right away. Not till a few weeks into it when the bullshit started coming out. Brian Ivany, I have a hard time believing that if one person or two or three got sick because of improper procedures, then it spread to the whole world. That area, sure. A large area, sure. But not Hong Kong? Well, it went everywhere. I mean, yeah, there was a bubble, but it went all over the world. So no matter what caused it, Brian, if you don't think it was in the lab, one person led to two, led to three, but how come there was a little bit of a bubble in Hong Kong? I couldn't answer that. I don't know. But I know there's one rule. When you get infected with a virus like that, what's the first thing you do? What's the first thing you're supposed to do? We all know. You get on an airplane. That's what everybody does, is how did it spread? Well, some fucker who had the virus got on an airplane. Every time they got on an airplane. Why is that such a big fucking thing? Is that every time you know you're infected, somebody's sick with something, the first those fuckers do is get on an airplane. Let's take it everywhere. All right. Joe DeMitt, how stupid do you have to be giving money to your enemy to develop a viral weapon? Agreed. All right. Rachel Werner says the liberals are so dead set on being opposite to the right, they've totally lost sight of any realistic approach to stabilizing our country and sustaining a healthy culture. Keith Leonardelli, $13.99. Peace out, guys. Got to take my two dogs to the vet. What she said there about the left being blinded, for those of you around the world, I will let you know. If the Republicans in my country came up with a cure for cancer, the left, the Democrats, would oppose it. They would call it untrue. They would say it's going to kill people. It's going to kill children. It's going to kill minorities. It only works on middle-aged white people because you're racist. They would say that. Now, hear me out on this. If the Republicans in my country found a cure for cancer, the left would oppose it because they don't like who found the cure. If you can grasp that concept, then you know the struggle that we are all in here. If the right, if the Republicans, if conservatives found a cure for cancer, the left would not endorse it. The left would not be happy. The left would oppose it because of who found the cure. If you can get your mind around that concept, now you understand the level of hatred they have forced and divided on us. That's where we're at. And maybe I'm wrong, but I bet there's a lot of people that would agree with me. That's the thing we're fighting against. We can't even join together and fight against the government and how fucked up they are because they made sure we are never going to be together. They did. I told you guys this before. There was a couple people that went around college campuses for weeks and just took a microphone. Do you know any Republicans? No. Ask another kid. Would you be friends with a Republican? No. Why not? I wouldn't do it. Those fucking assholes. They're being taught that. These are young kids in their 20s, maybe 18 to 24 years old, and they have the mindset of, I hate the other side. Well, the other side didn't do something to cause you to hate them. You've been told to hate them. You've been shown these examples to hate them, and you do. You didn't really question if the stories you were being told were right or if the examples were correct. Just hate them. That's the level of discord we are living in my country. You want to prosecute Fauci? How? One side of the aisle is going to give him a free pass. I'm not going to care. Yeah, he's probably he did his best. Other side hates him. Go after Donald Trump on nothing. One side says, put him in jail forever, he's an asshole. The other says, give him a free pass. He's probably okay. That is literally the way every single topic that hits the news, immediately people feel the same way every time. Look what the Bidens did. It's just not like you think. They're okay. Look what Trump did over here. He's all right. Don't worry about what he did. He's probably okay. They automatically think that way about their own party, and they hate the other party with equal levels of enthusiasm. So, sorry, I don't really think highly of Prince Charles. I'm trying to. I want to. I dug you guys' Monarchy, but I just don't have that same sense of enthusiasm that I once did. Wuhan stuff is still coming out. Been 100% proven. It was not a bat, a zebra, and a monkey. It was the lab. And even when Fauci gets caught, it'll be a show trial in a circus, and he'll get away with it because we have big district attorneys and prosecutors all over the country that are completely on one side of the aisle. Don't give a shit about justice. Now you guys are caught up. I know this wasn't a great show for laughter. I know it wasn't a great show for fun. We didn't juggle balls the whole time and flip ping pong balls and bowling pins in the air and eat cake, and we didn't do any of that. This was more of a serious show because there were some questions you guys had. There was the emails were piling up about Wuhan. It's been coming because the new stuff has been coming. New things have come to light, man. There's, been some stuff. So I'm trying to answer. Instead of writing down, instead of replying to 30 or 40 emails in the last few days, maybe this kind of covers everything all at once. I'll still try to answer them, but covers it all at once. Now, the coronation stuff, I had a couple things on that, but that was mainly for me because I wanted to know what you guys thought. If I can't hear what you guys are thinking out the front door, then I can't get where I need to be in my head. Listen, we're a little bit past the top of the hour. I got to go. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you guys for the donations and the subscriptions. I really appreciate it. I hope some of this made sense to you. If not, just write me an email and tell me don't ever talk about that shit again, and I'll move on to something else. Next time we can talk about Hot Wheels and versus Matchbook, which is the best car, which was the best die-cast car in the 60s and 70s and 80s. Maybe that's what you guys want to know. Let me know in the comments. Let me know with an email. We'll get back at you as quickly as we can. If you had to waste an hour of your time, what better place to waste it than with Gen X Talks? Appreciate you guys stopping by. It is Friday. That means tonight at 6 o'clock on Facebook, we head to the garage. That's always going to be an interesting show. Tomorrow at 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock at night, 6 o'clock. 6 o'clock at night, we do another bottom of the glass show after a full day's work in the yard. We'll see how that goes. And then Monday, we start the week all over again with the guys out here working on the studio, putting it back together. Thank you guys for tuning in. AM, FM, XM, Sirius XM Radio it is, or somewhere on the Armed Service Radio Network. We thank you guys. Remember, wherever you go, there you are. And I promise you one thing, I'll catch you guys on the flip side.